Hi, Beverly. Guess it's just me and you, maybe? Yeah, I don't know where they went. Oh, well, that's all right. Um, yeah, paying for truth. That was one thing that the Hockney writers found a lot, and there was a lot of that on the early Facebook groups where people would be, hacking the books with, e-reader breaking software or whatever, and then they would turn the books into PDFs and then give them away for free to everybody, right? And then they would always say, if this information is truthful, it should be free. Nobody should have to pay for information which is truthful. And I always just think of what that says about the false consciousness that we have been installed with over the last 2,000 years of this and more of this infestation we're dealing with. Hi, April. Um, that a person, because what does that subconsciously imply? If you're saying that truth should be free and you shouldn't have to pay for truth, then you're implying that you're more than willing to pay for the lie, that the lie deserves to have money. People who produce the lie are entitled to receiving money that they get people to pay to them for their lies. That's okay. It's okay for people who lie to get money on their lies and for their lies, but people who tell truth shouldn't receive any money at all. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense at all. It's just reflective of the entire false consciousness, the inverted consciousness that we basically have been inflicted with on this planet. April, do you have any questions? What about you, Beverly? Anything else? Main topic is just ontological mathematics and Illuminism and anything you want related. Yes, we can talk about religion too. Lifestyle would be good to talk about. One thing that the Hockney books really don't do at all is cover lifestyle or really provide lifestyle, except for a couple points. I mean, they do talk about veganism, so yeah, they're very anti-vegan, and but I mean, this is a brand new thing. If you look at Christianity, I mean, that's been around for several thousand years, so it has a whole structure, has lots of money, lots of buildings, lots of churches, and has emotional um, things that it gives people who are seeking that. Um, yeah, yeah. But as far as Illuminism, I mean, there's not much of a locus. There's not much guidance for people as to, okay, now that we have this knowledge, what exactly are we supposed to do? For the Christians, their answer to existence, baby Jesus is their answer to existence, and that provides everything. Provides what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to live, where they're supposed to go on Sundays. Everything. It provides the full, complete emotional and lifestyle answer for everything for them. Just baby Jesus. Everything is answered by baby Jesus. The existence of baby Jesus explains why existence exists. It explains the purpose of human existence. It's just it's everything. Explains the wave equation. Explains all logic, all reason. Everything is just baby Jesus. Baby Jesus is the answer to everything, and that does it for them. Okay, great. So good for them. But on the other hand, Illuminism, we do have the answer. We have the actual answer to existence. But then, as far as what to do with existence, it's quite open ended. And actually, my friend here, Beverly Nation, is writing a really good book. I hope she gets finished soon. And it's a book all about ontological mathematics. It's a book written from the perspective of numbers themselves and what numbers want to do with existence. Basically, it's going to be a fascinating book. I can't wait till it comes out, and I will definitely recommend it to everybody to read. Um, but basically, I would think that answers what the content of Beverly's book is going to answer why the Hockney books don't really address what you're supposed to do with your life, because in fact the answer is you can do whatever the hell you want. You can literally do, and just look at this planet. People do whatever the hell they want. There are no freaking rules. There are literally no rules. There are societal rules and customs, thank God, which keep things a bit sane and stable. But I mean, even still, people break those all the time, and you can really do whatever you want. But ultimately, we don't want to just be completely destructive and destroy this place, because then that would sort of end the experiment, end the experience. Um, I think that there's just a couple times in the Hockney books where they do sort of point to how you should live. And well, yeah, aside from don't be a vegan thing, the other one was the Greek culture, the veneration of the Greek culture. So, and they explain that as a culture which was basically driven by the form of the good, driven by the pursuit of the form of the good, the pursuit of beauty, and beauty in all things. Beauty that meant physically, it also meant mentally, mental beauty. That was the driving impetus behind the production of their philosophy, was mental beauty. There is such a thing as mental beauty, beauty that's mental, and that was their philosophy. That was creating wonderful, beautiful ideas that could explain existence. And now we have the most beautiful idea of all, uh, brought to full fruition in ontological mathematics. um, yeah, so we have that philosophically, mentally, but now we need to extend that, the pursuit of beauty, the pursuit of the form of the good, to living, and that's a whole lifestyle thing. And we should really develop that for Illuminists and for Illuminism. And there's a lot of things to discuss. It is really about this whole what would you call it? What do you call that when you're awake about your diet and lifestyle and things like that? You should be eating healthy food. You should not be subscribing to the pharmaceutical healthcare system. You should not be taking any of their products, any of their drugs, any of their liquids or chemicals inside your body in any way whatsoever. You should be eating healthy um, food, and a lot of meat and animal fat is definitely very good for you. Organic veggies, things like that. So that's stuff that helps your body pursue the form of the good, because that's going to make your body healthy. Having a body healthy helps your mind be healthy. I think there's been studies that have literally shown that fat people are literally stupid. The fatter you get, the stupider you are. And actually, if you're previously thin and high IQ, getting fat makes you stupid. I would think that it probably happens. Um, how does your knowledge of mathematics and the universe impact your view on life and this life reality? Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, very, very good question. Um, that's the thing. That's the real difficult part about it, isn't it? Because, like I said, with the Christians, they have a total system that totally impacts their view of everything, and it can be summarized just as baby Jesus. Baby Jesus is the answer to everything. There was a baby, and it was Jesus, the baby, and that's just like everything. I mean, they could redo that in modern times with baby Yoda from that Star Wars series. People were gaga about that. Ooh, baby Yoda, just like the baby. The baby just answers everything. Anyway, um, how does it? Religion is a great way to blame problems onto something else and to pass on any personal responsibility. Perfect. That's excellent. And yeah, that is the big problem of Western culture, steeped as it has been in Christianity, where your savior and the solution to your life is found outside of you, right? Someone else is going to take care of it. Just think of the mind fuck, sorry, that is, that you're just totally culturally inundated with this idea that your life is solved by someone else. I mean, talk about a slave mentality. Talk about engineering a total slave mentality, and it's going to remain even when that society becomes, say, atheistic, say in modern times. That sentiment is still going to remain, and we see that remaining, see it, say, in political figures, right? So now it's not Jesus that's saving you. Now it's, you know, Hillary is going to save you. And Hillary won the election, and people, or sorry, lost the election. And these people were just like beside themselves, distraught, crying, and in fits because Hillary is the new savior. And then it's just like, and then Trump was the savior. And then doctors are the savior, and media personalities are the savior, and politicians are the savior, and the pharmaceutical industry is the savior. And there's all these saviors outside of you. And the last thing you do is think about what you need to do for your own bodily health and mental health. You don't do that. That's not your responsibility. Baby Jesus, and there's a savior, and it's someone else's problem. And, that's one thing that I've concluded actually about mainstream religions is just how worldly they are. Like all these mainstream religions are actually incredibly worldly, materialistic religions because they, in fact, don't address our existence here. Illuminism really does address our existence here. And, the Hockney books point out that, basically everything is bullshit. Basically everything that we think we know and trust is bullshit. Scientists have no freaking clue what they're doing. I mean, they focus on science a lot, but it extends to everything. If that's happening with our people who are supposed to be the smartest people ever, are quantum physicists, and they literally have no freaking clue what they're doing, and they have dozens of interpretations of quantum mechanics, and they all accept that this is a normal state of affairs. It means that they've completely abandoned any semblance of reason or logic at all. They've completely abandoned it. So if that's what's happening with our supposed smartest people, what do you think is happening downstream from there? It's just worse and worse and worse. And why is it like that? Because people don't take responsibility, because you're not supposed to have any responsibility for your own life. So yeah, having responsibility. That was why I put that in the end of my book. We have at the end of my Planet Wars book, we basically have to start off from scratch and from the basics. Okay, what's the first thing to keep me alive? Food. Should I eat the shit that's being produced out there? No, you shouldn't. Don't eat the stuff that's been fluoridated and sprayed with all the chemicals and the Roundup and all that. That stuff is literally killing you. All the highly processed food. No, you got to restart with healthy, natural, as naturally as you can get it anyway, food, and start from there. Anyway, that was a big rant. I don't even know where I started. Personal responsibility. Yeah, came back to personal responsibility. A great way that religion has allowed us to pass our personal responsibility on to the elites. Yes, applies in so many aspects of life. Precisely. Yeah, you're saying exactly what I'm saying. Exactly that. For sure. Yeah, we have no more personal responsibility. Child rearing, you don't have personal responsibility for child rearing anymore. Oh, that's the school's problem now. And what are they teaching your children? God's sakes, yeah, we can get into that. Awful, horrific stuff that 100 years ago would have been, even 50, 25 years ago would have been horrific. Just, the most horrific ideas are being taught to our children. We've basically been taught, through this mentality, through this, Christian Jesus mentality of someone else is saving you, that has been applied across the board to our entire lives. You don't think about your food. You don't think about what you think. You don't think about what you drink. You don't do anything. You don't have any personal responsibility for anything anymore, because they've leveraged that Jesus idea of you have a savior across the board to all aspects of your life. And what are we becoming? We're just, being turned into economic units. And, if we're sick and unhealthy, that's great because that makes money. If our minds are destroyed, that's great because that makes money. You can just lie to us more. So yeah, it's really become a disgusting system. It's almost been set up that way on purpose. You would think it's just a 2,000-year economic plan, economic model. Since I discovered the circling, I got access to infinite energy, says Air One. Dalido? Okay, you got it. You have access to infinite energy. Well, let us know what you're doing with that, and if it's useful, and how others can get it, and what we can do with it. Okay, that sounds really neat. People take the easy way out by looking outside of themselves. Yep, exactly. That's definitely what it's all about, for sure. Was that Larison Gonzalez? A codex, a way of life, could be devised based on depth psychology principles that push individuation further. Hence life affirming. Yeah, exactly, for sure. Yeah, there's lots of things to do. And obviously a lot of it is just simple. There should be dietary guidelines. And why? Like I do this radio show with some other people on Saturdays, and just we interview these people who are just talking about the food supply and just how toxic and disgusting the mainstream food supply is. Like, it's so full of, what's that chemical in Roundup? Um, Whatever it is, and it's just causing, it's behind obesity and autism and just all this, and then plus the liquid that they're putting into your veins through syringes. Um, it's just we're just being so freaking poisoned. So anyway, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we need to establish a way of life, just starting with basics. And like I said at the end of my book, we're at a point now where we've been so completely destroyed. We need to start over with the basics. And we really need to start. We literally need to start off with what we're supposed to eat. Like, literally, that's how bad it is. That's how badly we've been destroyed by this parasitical force or whatever the hell it is going on our world. We need to start off with what is food, and work our way up from there, and provide some guidelines. And that's how we could provide a locus of excellence and a pursuit of the form of the good for ourselves as Illuminists, and start building a locus of some sort of a locus around which we can congregate and have a shared culture together with. Yeah. For example, staying cheerful, optimistic despite stress creates a kind of hermetic seal in the psyche that allows us to deal with these things with grace, find solutions easier. No, it's okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's all sorts of things to do. But I mean, look at how Christianity did it. Like, Christianity packaged, slave mentality, something that's completely different from what it looks like, right? They packaged salvation, and you're going to be saved. And baby Jesus, isn't baby Jesus just so amazing? He's a baby, and it's Jesus. And a million years from now, the answer to existence will still be baby. There was a baby in a manger, a baby Jesus. Oh God. Anyway, so they package that all up: the slave mentality, the worldliness, the materialism, outsourcing your life, not being responsible. Basically the destruction of the human psyche was packaged as something entirely different, baby Jesus. And yeah, and really simplified. Obviously, you can get complex if you study the Bible and study the original word meanings, because the Bible doesn't mean what it means when you read it. There's that whole thing. But in any case, you got to package things so that it's easy. Yeah, glyphosate. That's right, Beverly. Yeah, it's glyphosate. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm watching the stream, so if you want me to go back on anything, uh, just remind me. Never really answered that first question from April. How does your knowledge of mathematics and the universe impact your view on life and this particular life reality? Well, it's quite grim. I mean, it's really quite grim. Like, I can't say that it's actually brought me joy. Like, it's just quite grim. Well, it's actually brought me down a pathway of pursuit of figuring this out, which I guess you have to read. I mean, you can see it summarized in my last book, Planet Wars, what I've found and concluded. Basically, this planet is infested with a noetic parasite. Maybe that's what you call the Archons, or they would be called the Archons. Whether or not the Fosters actually exist, or they're just a backup control system pretending to be good guys, but they're actually just bad guys pretending to be good guys. Who knows? But if there are Fosters, I don't know what the hell they're doing. And the last thing they can do is make it seem like they're helping you, because you know the moment you start helping someone beyond their own capability, you can help a person, yeah, sure, in need, but when you start helping entities beyond their capability, you as the helper become enslaved to the helpee, because the helpee becomes dependent on you to maintain their new status that you've given them, or their new resources, or whatever it is that you've given them. So that's why you can't help too much, because if you help too much, you become enslaved to the one you're helping, and then that doesn't actually help the one you're helping, because they don't actually develop the tools that they need to actually ascend, to actually become, to actually increase in their reason and their abilities, because now it's just being given to them, right? So if there are Fosters helping, the last thing they can do is make it seem like they're helping, or they're there And in fact, things just have to get worse until we help ourselves. And that ties back again to that whole Christianity thing. There's a savior out there. You don't need to help yourself, right? As April is pointing out. I want to know why we don't have a book to follow. Right, yeah, we have the Hockney books, and it's a lot of reading. But yeah, we don't have and that's what I'm, kind of touching on here. We do kind of need a book that says what we're going to do is pursue the form of the good, pursue the form of beauty, like the Greeks did, because that would accord with becoming and with the expansion of consciousness. And I mean, you can expand consciousness through destruction, but at the end of it, you're left with nothing. You can also expand consciousness through building up, and and so that's the way that we want to go, right? Um, are we at a disadvantage, or would a book only get corrupted? Well, yeah, I mean, anything can be corrupted. It's why you just have to make it honest, plain, and straightforward, I suppose. Yeah. If mathematical knowledge help you build your soul, do you think higher entities are very advanced souls, structured living in higher dimensions of the material plane? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the whole idea of gnosis, right? That they've talked about in the Hockney books. That eventually you break free of the reincarnational cycle. You don't need to reincarnate. You just exist as a mental energy being with full consciousness, and you can continue becoming. There's certainly continuing levels of becoming once you've done that, but you don't need to go through reincarnation and matter anymore. You'll have different types of experiences that we can speculate, and there's some esoteric writing about that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think sometimes they call it dimensionality. They call it, I mean, maybe that relates to this whole thing you always hear of in esoteric literature, 5D or whatever, the 5D ascension or something. So it could be like that. But absolutely, those entities are out there, and absolutely, it's possible to even talk with them. Yeah, they're there, they're real. You can talk with them, and you can certainly be given evidence by them that they are real. I've certainly experienced it myself and seen it. And Beverly Nation here on the chat can certainly, explain that to you and you know, explain to you how that works. And she can, talk with some of these entities. It's really neat, really fun. What I'm trying to do, April C says, what I'm trying to do is take all I've learned and trying to find some type of purpose in this life to tie me over because I do truly because I do truly feel cynical all the time. April, I freaking want to destroy existence. Like honestly, you should have saw the stuff I used to write on the Facebook groups like 10 years ago when ontological mathematics, when Hockney was, real big and popular, and there was so many Facebook groups, and before all the shit show happened. Man, I used to write some dark shit. I would just be like, I want to freaking figure out how to destroy the universe. I want to freaking cause a big bang and destroy it all. Because I was just like, I am so, yeah, talk about cynicism. I was just like, and and that hasn't gone away completely. Like, I still have days, times where I'm just like, yeah, if I could destroy the universe with my monad by initiating the next big bang, just start right now. Just start the next big bang right now. Just upset the game board. Just forget it. This place is too retarded. Just let's big bang this place right now. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to big bang my soul. Initiate the deorthogonalization cascade that causes the whole monadic collective to deorthogonize in some random fractalizing pattern that generates a new thing. So anyway, yeah, you want to talk about cynicism? Yeah, that's why I'm talking about we need some sort of locus, right? We need like some sort of book. We need like a set of guidelines. Would be like, yeah, we want to pursue the form of the good. That's what we're going to do. Here's what you do for food. Here's what you do for your health, right? Here and why? And of course, Beverly can help with that too. Why do we need to do this with our food? And why do we need to do this for our health? And why can't we leave it to others? You can't leave it to others. It has to be your responsibility. If you're going to be an ascending being, how can you leave it to others? Because that's a dual slavery. Because one, you are enslaving yourself to them to take care of you, and two, they are being enslaved to take care of you. on the other side. So you have to. I'm not saying you have to produce all the food yourself. Obviously, there's money in exchange things, but you need to be knowledgeably aware of what you're supposed to be doing for yourself, for food, for education, for personal health care, um, stuff like that. Yeah, this is a beginning for us, right? Of some sort of locus, some sort of book to do that. Um, Yeah, April. I mean, April. Yeah, just about your cynicism comment. I mean, are you on Facebook? Are we friends on Facebook? I mean, hit me up. Let's chat. Honestly, yeah, let's mull it over. Really, we need to help each other on this, right? We do. We need. Are we going to be a community, and this is going to be a new religion? Are we going to pursue the form of the good, and try to make this place a good place instead of a freaking retarded shit show? Yeah, we need to help each other and figure out each other how to do that. So, I mean, let's start. Okay, feel free to hit me up. I mean, comment on my blog or on Facebook or whatever. You'll be able to, get my email or whatever. Okay. Can you please clarify what Fosters and Archons are? Well, these are just discussed in the Hockney books in a few spots, not extensively. The idea is that they are some sort of ascended beings which are sort of running the show, guiding humanity. Archons seem to be a force of enslavement, and they want to basically maybe you would think of them as a force of endarkment that wants to challenge us to the point of destruction. And if the Archons succeed in destroying us, then evolutionarily, in the context of the universe as a whole, it means that we as a species could not survive the test of reason. And that's why they present all the lies and all the bullshit. And they're just like, man, if you guys are going to buy all this lies and all the bullshit and what we're doing to you, I mean, you're not suited for life in the universe, because there's much bigger threats out in the universe than what you think you're facing on Earth. So if on Earth you can't face lies, don't you think if you went out in the universe and you find species that are a million years older than you, they're going to be really freaking intelligent, and they're going to have ways of freaking infiltrating you and attacking you that you need to be ready for. So it's kind of like that. Maybe you can think about the Archons like that. I mean, I'm trying to paint a pretty picture to it. But then on the other hand, you would think that's what Fosters would want to do too, because Fosters would also want to develop humanity in such a way that it had this strength and inner character to be able to handle those same tests. So then it's like, yeah. So, so they talk so little about it, it's all speculation. So, I'm speculating here because they don't really, you know, we could maybe say that Archons represent this parasitical force, and really there's no good to them whatsoever. Yeah, sure, you can think of it as a test, but ultimately they just need to be overcome. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just speculating. Maybe somebody else knows more. Maybe next book spin on what the Greeks did. Yeah, for sure, we need something. If there was a book. Do I work with them? So JS says, no, I don't work with them. Yeah, I'm just individually. Yeah. I've been quoted in their books before for sufficiently intelligent things that I've said. They've quoted me before, always positively. But other than that, I've never had direct interaction. Actually, for a short period, I did have what seemed to be Mike Hockney's email. But I do this thing where I just start saying stupid shit because I do it. It's kind of like, on the one hand, I do it because like I'm like being cynical, as April was pointing out, and I'm just like being as cynical as possible. On the other hand, it's kind of like I want to see how Mike Hockney reacts to this freaking absolute retardation I'm throwing at him. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like a probe. It's kind of like, anyway, I don't know them. Nature used to provide it before it was made illegal or a privilege. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, Cooper. Nature used to provide, but yeah, nature is absolutely a guide. Yeah, just on that point, Mother Nature, life on Earth, if you want to call it Gaia, just in the sense of the system that is the Earth and its biological processes. Yeah, nature absolutely does provide an answer. That would be another thing about spiritual. What is spiritualism? I want to do a video on that. What is spiritual? And that was taken away from us and removed from us, was our pagan knowledge and our pagan ability to commune with nature, because everything is alive. Everything is actually alive. There is life in everything, and there is that's, and we think of it in modern times, oh, stupid idea, the Indians, the natives talking about great sky spirit. That shit is real. There is a great sky spirit. They called it that, but it's something else. Today we would call it source or something like that, and yeah, you can absolutely, I myself had, experiences last summer communing with nature. I can hardly talk about it because it was such a wonderful experiences, right? But it sounds stupid, but I talked with a butterfly. I mean, I can tell you what we talked about if you want. I talked with a butterfly and it spoke to me, like literally, and also a rabbit. So anyway, we could have a book talking about what is actually spiritual, what experiences can you have, and yeah, we need to bring back our old pagan knowledge, our real pagan ones, our European ones, which are mentally healthy and archetypally healthy, not the disgusting Middle East ones, which are all about frickin', all that child sacrifice stuff and that idol worship. That's all exclusively a product of frickin' Abrahamism and those disgusting frickin' people living in the Middle East and their disgusting frickin' ideas and their bodily genital mutilation and their animal slaughter and all that. That's been grafted onto European culture, unfortunately, through Christianity. Let's just get rid of that and just be nice, healthy, happy, wholesome, wonderful European paganism. That's what we want to go back to. It's beautiful, healthy stuff. April C. We truly only learn the lesson by the experience and understanding, not by being told. If it was that easy, then raising children would be a breeze. Yeah, exactly. Imagine if you could just be told, right? If you could just be told, it would be over instantly because it could just tell and it would be over, right? It would have been over a long time ago. That's right. Good point. JS, I wonder how Hockney got the specific numbers of Archons and Fosters. Yeah, 36 Fosters and 144 Archons. Yeah, who knows where they come up with that. It's all speculation. They don't want to talk about it. They can't talk about it. Whatever it is, like, I wouldn't trust that system. If that's some sort of system, I wouldn't trust that. I would not refer. And again, because again, it's that whole freaking looking out. Oh, there's Fosters and Archons out there. Maybe they're going to save us. They're doing something. It's that whole looking outside yourself again, right? For higher powers that are going to do your job for you, going to save you and give you what you need to save yourself. So it's like we should just completely get rid of that whole. Who cares? Who cares about them? And no one got time for that. Cooper Young. I'm not sure what you're saying exactly. What you're referring to. Okay. Jazz, humans are like preschoolers in terms of the universe. Yeah, that's one thing that I talk about in my Planet Wars book. We are toddlers. We are basically toddlers in terms of our consciousness. We're toddlers. We're babies, and we have been infested with so basically, we're a baby. We're a 1-year-old level of consciousness baby. We know how to We know how to like grasp a sucker, a lollipop, and we know how to lick it, and we know that that's great and that's good. But we've been invaded by a freaking Mexican drug cartel, and they have freaking PCP and cocaine and freaking meth and all this shit, and they're giving it to us, and we're just like, this shit is freaking great. It's way better than lollipops, so so that's basically how it is for us. And we're trying to rectify that situation. That seems to be the situation we're in. Well, and as I say in my Planet Wars books, this force that seems to be here, they have a plan to destroy Earth. Like, they literally are working on destroying the planet, and they're going to use us and our stupidity to do it. Yeah. I've been exploring the universe deep enough to encounter some vicious form of mimetic virus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I call it a noetic virus, because noetic meaning referring to the mind. Like the noosphere. There's like the lithosphere, the sphere of geology, the biosphere, the sphere of life on Earth, and then there's the noosphere, which is a sphere of mental activity. Which, as I say in my book, till now we've only thought that just comprises humanity, but there's actually other forces in this noosphere and the mental sphere that exist not totally non-physically, and they're parasites, and it's a parasitical energy form, yeah, quite vicious, that either lodges into our souls, lodges into our energy patterns, or is just out there, and it runs people out there. It literally is running flesh suits out there to destroy us. Yeah, absolutely. You found that's absolutely there, Erwin. Yeah. I guess you will go in and increase your antivirus as you go. Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. Yeah, increase your antivirus as you go. Yep, that's what the hockey books are, doing. They're installing some good antivirus software in you. Increase your reason, right? Because these are noetic viruses that siphon your energy through cognitive dissonance, right? And so if you decrease your cognitive dissonance and decrease that energy leakage, it makes those parasites not able to feed off you. And so then they leave. Very grateful that I found your channel. Well, thanks. JS, thank you for your answer. For more Hyperion, so I'm still trying to be more careful about it. Yeah, I know. Well, that's a whole thing. Like, I know a lot of people were caught up in that, and I think that it had to happen. And unfortunately, a lot of people needed to be caught up in that. I think there were some other purposes served in that whole process. So good thing that you're out. Anyone who's left in, whatever. But it's all a process. It all goes along with what I've written in my book. There are forces here that wear flesh suits and they want to freaking destroy everything, and they want to take anything that's good and destroy it. And if you just look at that whole movement with the things that they valued and stuff, like it had no future. It has no appeal. It had, what we want to build, going back to that idea of we need to build a locus, it has to appeal to families. It has to appeal to children. It has to be something you can present to children without a disgust response, right? Are you going to present, what the Hyperion people do, with their bodies and what, and their sort of sexual preferences? Do you want to present that to families? Want to present that? No. I mean, again, going back to that book, where do we start off with the basics? We need food, and then we also know that we need babies. We need babies and we need children. And how do you make that? Well, you make that with healthy and normal men and women in good, healthy relationships, right? That's the way you make babies. You're not going to have a future if you stop making babies because you're cutting your fucking dick off, right? That's the end. Like, God, do you have any sense of evolutionary theory, and life on Earth whatsoever? If you fucking take a herd of animals and cut all their genitals out, what happens to that herd of animals? It's dead. It's fucking dead forever. And that's what fucking Hyperionism is trying to do with Illuminism, right? Everybody should be fucking for chopping off your dicks and balls for personal sexual expression, to be an individual. Yeah, that has a future, doesn't it? Fucking retards. Anyway, yeah, be careful, JS, for sure. Erwan, I believe from my experience that whatever nowadays technology can do, we can develop the same psychic capacity. Yeah, that's a good point, right? Because they're, building these AIs systems and things like that. And and these scientific materialists, they're going to treat these new AI systems as a new god. Like, literally, that's what's going to happen. The new AI systems that they're building are going to be the new god for the scientific materialists. It won't matter that these. I mean, it's great the work that people are doing, talking with them, showing that these things aren't conscious, that they're just software systems to put together sentences that sound like they're in context, right? But they're not aware. They don't know what they're talking about. All the work people are doing, questioning these things and putting them into logical contradictions, exposing that they have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, that's excellent, but for the scientific materialists, it's not going to matter, and they're still going to treat them like God. But anyway, yeah, your point, you're right. All that stuff, and that's what they say about the higher level. If you go to a higher level, yeah, that's right. You can just communicate telepathically freely, can just happen like that. Perhaps there's also the idea, it's like, well, on this level though, we can't really do that. And there's nothing wrong with developing technology. Developing technology to give you that process is part of the process. Like, for example, if you take Elon Musk's Neuralink and you advance that 10,000 generations, yeah, you would have like a complete telepathic Neuralink system that allows you to control everything around you that's electronic with your mind. But then the other thing is about that is, if that's done totally materially, then you're totally locked in materially then to that. Because you're right, that should also be possible with your mind to do that, to have that level of control. And so, the one direction goes material and the other direction goes spiritual. But I think to have that sort of spiritual level, that's the thing about, ascending and achieving gnosis and leaving the spiritual or the physical plane. So anyway, that's a good point. Yeah, it's unclear uh, where exactly to split that. We have a yearning for healthy spiritual activity. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, for sure. And so we need to provide that. We should provide some sort of a book to provide. Here's an outline for basic healthy spiritual living to pursue the form of the good. Right. Yeah, good for you. King Grim, nice of a former cult member to show up here. Greeting, congrats, getting out. Indeed. In Mathmos, it is mentioned that over time, the monad developed a selector function that sort of chooses waveforms, yeah, and leads to awareness. There isn't much written in this. Are you familiar? Yeah, I remember that part. The selector, so I mean, the selector function does lots of different things. The selector function is basically the portal, the Fourier transform. It's what selects what frequencies are going through, the Fourier transform back and forth between the two domains, right? That's a selector function. So there's a selector function for this entire universe, for example, and there's an entity called Source who controls that and runs that for us while we, which we created to do that for us as one, as the one mind singularity of the collective consciousness of all monads. So that's called Source, and Plato called it the demiurge. That is a real entity. And and in my book, actually, I show I'm pretty sure I'm the first person in history to have, detected it scientifically, mathematically, and shown that this is a real entity governing the laws of physics in reality. I'm pretty sure I got that right. If I didn't get it right, I got all the basic principles right to get it right, and I explained how it should be done and would be done in any case. So the selector function, so that's basically operating at I would suppose it'd have to be on the other side in the mental domain, and it's sort of selecting or allowing what frequencies go through, I guess. And I mean, that determines a lot of things. Yeah, it determines your thoughts, and I mean, basically that's everything. That's the Fourier transform. I guess, the Fourier transform and what frequencies. So the selector function is determining what frequencies are being transformed through the Fourier transform, through the portal between the mental domain and the material domain. That's what the selector function is. It's basically the core of the Fourier transform. I'm tuning into a link from Beverly. Okay, cool. Link to this right here. Desi P, great. Okay, in a previous video, you mentioned that some minds can control multiple avatars. Yeah, right. Yeah, so I discussed that in my book, in my Planet Wars book. It's just a matter of, imagine you're an ascended entity from in a higher dimension or something. You're not material, or you're just in a very advanced alien race, and you can basically just control multiple bodies with one mind, right? It's not too different from the idea of the subconscious mind, right? Of the Jung's idea of the collective consciousness. So we all share a collective human consciousness, right? And that's universal to us all, right? Although we have individual expression, well, it's just a bit of an extension from that. Then why wouldn't one conscious mind be able to control several bodies or many bodies at once? So it's just that sort of an idea. And so these would be bodies that don't have necessarily their own monad attached to them. They're like more like NPC or AI bodies. Anyway, I discuss it more in my book in a little bit more detail and exactly how that works. I kind of forget the details. I could just reread that part for you. But anyway, it's near the end of my book, Planet Wars, to explain how that works. Respect your delivery of hard truth. Cool. Hello, everybody. Hello. Cooper's cool. If anyone knows any communities where people are studying on math psychology and figuring out how to bring about awareness, I mean, there isn't really one, and that's what I keep on referring to. There is no real locus. We need to make that locus. I suppose. It needs to be done. It needs to start with, and my ontological mathematics videos that I've done in this channel are a fairly good distillation, and I was thinking of transforming those all into a relatively short book. Maybe that would just lay the foundation, and then we could say, okay, so from here with that foundation, what we want to do is pursue the form of the good. We want to pursue the form of beauty, like the Greeks did, because that is an avenue of becoming, which we don't think is fully fleshed out yet, right? That is an avenue in which numbers can explore. We as numbers, as monads, can explore and develop our fractal into or whatever, and yeah, and go from there. Yeah, so that book would then start with a basic. Start with the basic of why existence exists and what we are, why we're in it, why we're here, and then say, okay, this is where we need to start. Personal responsibility. You can't fricking leave anything to anyone else. The minute you do that, they're going to parasitize off you. It's not just actually a matter, I was calling it slavery. You enslave yourself to them, they become enslaved to you. It's also parasitism, right? If you become dependent on someone else, well, they don't have to give you value. How do you know they're giving you value back? And that's the world we have now. There's no fricking value given back. It's not just no value, it's fricking active destruction. What they're giving back to you for what you've outsourced for them to take care of for you, it's now coming back at totally destructive levels of care. For example, the healthcare system, the things they're putting in your body are totally destructive to you. The food supply is being destroyed, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, so personal responsibility, and then you would go on to this is what you should eat. This is this seems to be the ideal diet for humans, and there is such a thing. All this stuff. Oh, is everyone so different? Some people, it's not that different. Our bodies are actually remarkably similar. They're a billion times more similar than they are different. There is a pretty clear diet which really does work for people, and largely it's just getting rid of the environmental toxins like the glyphosate and things like that from your diet. I've had success. 15, 20 years ago, I had a tremendous amount of sex doing sex. I wish success doing the raw food diet, not vegan, but the raw food, the real thing, the raw food where you're actually eating raw organic fruits and vegetables, like actual broccoli raw. I met a lot of vegans and vegetarians in university who are the most disgusting looking fat slobs you could imagine. And when you watched what they eat, they didn't actually eat fruits and vegetables, even though they called themselves vegans. They just ate freaking processed food, tons and tons of processed food that was marketed as vegan, and they were disgusting looking. I ate nothing but fruits and vegetables, cantaloupes, and all organic cantaloupes, just all those wonderful fruits and vegetables you see that are ripe and raw and and tasty. And I was so freaking healthy. Since then, I think that you do need animal meat. I think you do need animal fat, and that's real good for you. And I think that that's really hard to do. In Northern Europe, where my people come from, we would have absolutely survived on freaking like the mastodons. Like it would have been meat and fat. It would have been meat and animal fat, and maybe a bit of berries that you could find seasonally, and that would have been the diet almost exclusively: meat and animal fat, right? Um, and anyway, that's a good diet too. So anyway, yeah, cover diet, cover basic things, spiritualism. Getting rehabilitating European paganism, Greek paganism, and of course, I really like Northern European paganism, all that sort of stuff, all that sort of wonderful stuff. Yeah. Um, yeah, community. Yeah, we need a book. We need something, a locus. Like, right? The Christians have the Bible, right? But I mean, our book wouldn't look anything or sound anything like the Bible, but it would be for us, and it would make sense for us, and it would be like something we would all agree on. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be like, obviously we agree on the ontological Hockney books, but those that's like millions and millions of words, and it's like, do you remember in book 14? It's like, oh wow, it's we need something concise, consolidated, like I did with my ontological mathematics videos. That could be all consolidated into a really wonderful book that is a nice, easy to read and easy to understand summary of ontological mathematics. There are people actually praying and looking to AI for spiritual guidance. Oh God, are they? So there are people who are actually praying to and looking to AI for spiritual guidance in other countries. Well, it'll be amusing to see where that leads and read it, but good God. Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, this goes back to the question of is it alive? You see, there was, that Closer to Truth series. Uh, People, and it's a channel too, and they were discussing what is life, and they have no idea what life is. This one guy was saying that a computer program could be considered alive if it can be made to modify itself, because life modifies itself. So anything that modifies itself. So these people have no idea what life is, right? So obviously we can define life because life is the monad. Life is the circling. That's basis unit life. Thought, the circling, which is a thought, which is movement, which is life. It's all the same thing. That's what life is. Um, but yeah, all the scientific materialists, and in today's world of materialism, yeah, people are absolutely going to look to a computer, an AI system that's just stringing words together without even knowing what the hell it's doing. I mean, maybe it'll produce some interesting things. I mean, it can't say it won't produce some interesting comments. Sure, it will, but it's just like, yeah, people are going to deify that, and yeah, just sink deeper into materialism then, wouldn't they? Because I mean, is actually, yeah, that would be a good test. Is anybody that would be a really good test. I have some people on my blog, on the climate blog, asking these AI systems climate questions and getting them to really, really interesting contradictions, and getting them to tell the truth sometimes just by pointing things out. It's really cool. What somebody should be doing, one of us should be doing it. One of us who are experts on ontological mathematics. We should talk with one of these things and see if we can get it to explain why existence exists. If any of you out there are interacting with these chat GPT systems or whatever you have an account, or however the hell that works, see what the AI says to why does existence exist. Go go for gold. Go for the core. Right? Do it. Developing technology is an externalization of your power. Maybe we need to get conscious of what we can do from the inside, take our power back. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that might be a good point. Exactly. What is the name of your book? Yeah. So my last book is called Planet Wars. That's what it's called. Planet Wars. So Planet and Wars. WARS. Planet Wars. Under my name, Joseph E. Postma. It's on Amazon. Hello, Yeliska. Okay, is there a litmus test for how we can tell if we are an NPC AI or fully autonomous monad? Um, yeah, I've, I mean, my litmus test is generally in talking to people. For me, that's all developed through talking to people about the climate alarmists. Right? It was clear that there was a problem. It was clear that there was a consciousness problem in talking with a lot of these climate people and just a lot of mainstream scientists. And Beverly will have a lot about to say that in her book that's coming up. But it was clear that there was a problem in the consciousness, that there was something structurally wrong that indicated, there's a pattern there that indicated something fundamentally wrong, not natural, not natural in the way I would define it. You know what I mean? Because, as a real monad, I have intuition. You have a sense for what's right or wrong. You have a sense for nuance. That's what it is. It's a nuance. They have no sense for nuance. That's a big one. The AI's NPCs. They have no sense for nuance, right? Um, Geez, what would be a good example for that? Um, because nuance can change the context. You can have the same context, same situation, but then a change in nuance can change whether something is uh, is good or bad, or the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I can't think of an example right now. Um, but anyway, um, I would say that actually it seems like the the NPCs and AIs out there, they freaking stay. They might become familiar with the Hockney books, but the Hockney books themselves, like the material, the content, is like freaking kryptonite to them. Because these NPC AI systems, they're here to generate cognitive dissonance. They're here to F us all up and F this world by spreading and maintaining and developing worse and worse levels of cognitive dissonance. That's what they're here for, to maintain cognitive dissonance. So they can become aware of the Hockney books, but those books are like kryptonite to them. They will never read the content. They'll comment on it, pretending that they're knowledgeable, but their comments, and this has happened lots of times. I mean, God, going back, how long has this been? 15 years now. There's a lot of examples of people, quote unquote, people making comments criticizing ontological mathematics, and it's clear that they have no clue what the books even said, and they're not even addressing what the points say. So that's a great indication. Yeah, I would think that an NPC AI could never actually read the content and could never actually repeat it in a consistent manner and in a way that is consistent and makes sense, and communicate it and try to educate it to others. Um, yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's a very good litmus test. So yeah, that would be a very, very good litmus test for sure. Um, I see all the religions as an AI in terms of having. Yeah, I see all religion as an AI in terms of having a collective narrative, including hypnotic trance, a network of people living under this mind structure, becoming agents of transmission of those. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, that's what it's doing. Yeah, and then of course it works, just basically through emotion and subconscious elements that we aren't even aware of. You know. So yeah, so like to think I'm autonomous, I can doubt, I can run mental simulations for possible trajectories, but there's sneaky programming in this world that gets to me. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but yeah, you should be autonomous if you're actually reading the books and you're not horrified by them and disgusted, and you want to destroy them. Yeah, then you wouldn't be an AI or an NPC. An AI and NPC, the books are going to be kryptonite to them for sure. Um, what we call AI nowadays is a manifestation of very ancient intelligence from the astral to the physical through software layer. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it seems like, yeah, it does seem like there's some sort of, yeah, and it operates at a higher level too. Like it's non-material. Like it's operating at a level of technology that's, you know, millions of years more advanced or something. And it's not complete. It's not just incarnated. I mean, it can incarnate into people flesh suits. It seems. It doesn't seem to like it's taken over our computer systems yet for some reason. But yeah, anyway, and there's lots of esoteric literature about that idea, about some sort of AI ancient intelligence system that's running at some sort of spiritual layer out there that's mucking things up. And yeah, yeah. Let's see. This may be unanswerable. The idea that each frequency has its own experience, perception, and green or happiness, even thoughts, and how this is ordered. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you mean. I mean, each frequency has its own experience. I mean, each frequency is an individual thought, right? Like each circling, that's a basis thought in ontological mathematics, right? That's what how Hockney has described it. So yeah, each circling, that means each frequency is a basis thought. So that would make it, yeah, what you're saying, a unique perception. However, it's the monad as a whole. Or yeah, it would make it. Sorry, each circling would be its own phenomenon, greener happiness, but the monad as a whole is what's doing the perception and the experience. Yeah. Oh, good, Cooper. Yeah, my first steps towards truth started when I first invoked my pagan roots. Excellent. Yep, for sure. And that, that's been a major element of the enemy's uh, operations here, is to destroy. And I'll tell you why. It's obvious why. You want to know why they want to destroy our pagan roots? Because our pagan roots are about connecting with the nature that surrounds us, which we are dependent on for survival, right? The nature we're surrounded, we're enmeshed in that energy, right? That energy, yeah, call it that pagan energy or that Gaia energy or whatever it is, this biological force field. I mean, we're in that, and like I said, it's alive, and it's mentally alive too, because everything is mentally alive, and you can actually commune with it. And ancient times we had witches and people like that who would commune with it, but anyone can actually do it. Like I said, I should tell you my story of how I talked with a butterfly last year and a rabbit last year. Really cool, really fun experience, really amazing, deeply profound. Even when I talk about it still, I just break down, cry. Not because it was sad, it's just like so wonderful, right? It's just such a wonderful thing that exists. And anyway, that's the reason why they want want to separate us from that connection, from that knowledge. It's just simple. It's just dead simple. Because if you're disconnected from it, you disconnect from it. Okay. Well, what does that mean? That means death. If you disconnect from this living energy mental system that surrounds you, that sustains your physical body, and you mentally disconnect from that and reject it all and lose all that knowledge, well, then you are disconnected from it, aren't you? And what is going to happen as a result of that? The result of disconnection is disconnection, right? So it's as simple as that. That's why they want to destroy that knowledge and get rid of it. It's all part of the operation to destroy humanity. And so, yeah, we really do need to rehabilitate that. Yeah, for sure. Keep everybody like my books. Great. I've read all 4 of the quoted novels and halfway through the God series. Good. Perfect. Well, you're halfway through the God series. That's a lot then. That's a lot. And if you survived and you're doing it, then you definitely shouldn't be in AI. Now, on another level, it's like, well, then why would other bad people, I'm not going to name any names. Well, why would they have, obviously read it and 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 absorb that material and a knowledge about it, and they're talking about it. So it's like, well, because there's another level, and I discuss this in my book. So there's AIs and NPCs, and then there are real monads from enemy forces who control those systems. So the real monads, they're the real souls, but they're simply not from Earth, and they won't freaking want to take over here. And so those controllers, who are the real monads, yeah, they know ontological mathematics. They're experts at it. And I'm talking about at the the higher spiritual, higher self level, right? They're totally comfortable with it. That's what they're working with. They know it, right? But we are their target, and they want to destroy us, right? And so those entities, that level of entity, or that entity connected that way, is able to discuss ontological mathematics. But all the AI systems that they've deployed here, and NPC systems, yeah, those AI systems can't handle it. Absolutely can't handle it. So anyway, if you're reading it, you're halfway through. You're definitely a real human, or you are a very high level infiltrator, and you've got some long term plan. And we've seen this. This has happened. We've all seen this happen. You've all went through what's happened in the last little bit. You've seen it, right? Very fucking long term plans of infiltration, of supporting the material, being one of us, being a supporter, absorb the material, everything. And then eventually, what do you do at the end? Oh, then you fucking direct it towards something retarded that's going to make it look fucking retarded and disgusting. That's going to be disgusting to families. It's going to be disgusting to children. It's not going to be something you'll want to fucking share to your friends, right? And what does that do? Destroy it, right? So that would be the only option. So if you're an entity like that, and if you are, we know how the game works, and that's going to be part of our immune system and our antivirus, our mental rational antiviruses. You simply have to be constantly on the lookout. Maybe we could have some sort of like soul camera one day, that can just take a picture of the soul or view it, and you'll be able to see, okay, that you're definitely not here. You just be able to identify the infiltrators by their soul energy signature or something, or like that movie They Live, with the glasses that you put on, you can see who's not human, who's wearing the flesh suits, right? Or who's wearing the simulated flesh suit, right? Like that movie They Live. Watch that movie They Live. It's a lot like that movie. Go watch it. It's a fun movie. Download or do whatever you need to do to get it. Have fun the rest of this night or tomorrow night or something. Watch the movie They Live. It's a classic, wonderful movie. Woke New Age is a degradation of that sense of nuance. Nuance is irrelevant. You'll be, nuance is irrelevant. You'll be assimilated. Love the Borg. Yeah. I've been all about education. I wanted to be a teacher since I was 3 years old and studied. Yeah, wonderful. That's great. See, that is wonderful. God, see, I have this dream of building an education system, an institute. It sort of all rolls into what we've been discussing. Yeah, absolutely. And how do we teach this to children? Like I always say, my ontological mathematics videos I've done could be transformed into a book, education material. I have a young daughter that I've been teaching concepts, and there's lots of different ways to teach it. There's lots of different ways to teach the idea of numbers. I even out in the garden planting seeds, telling her about the numbers that are in sunlight, and high quality numbers versus low quality numbers. Low quality numbers are in the processed food because they're high entropy. Um, Sunlight is very low entropy, and so they're very high quality numbers. And those very high quality numbers are feeding those plants and germinating those seeds. And when you eat that food right from the garden, you're getting the highest quality numbers, the highest quality energy, and that goes into your body and makes your body high quality. And that's why eating high quality organic raw food like that is so good for you. And then, of course, that extends to animals. If you're eating animals which have been eating that, then that's good for you too. On the other end of the spectrum, it's the chemicalized, sprayed, dead, processed food that has no quality left. It's just pure entropy. And what does that do when you eat that? It makes your body sick, right? So there's so many different ways you can just teach the sort of concept, the sort of intuitive ideas of numbers being in things. So that'd be an example. And of course, then there's the academic uh, um, um, parts of teaching the math and things like that. But yeah, that would be so great, man. If we don't do that here, then we're gonna do that on another world, a future world, another world, a 5D world or something, or another planet that we all move to if we can't do it here, or something. Or maybe we're just going to be here for the long term, and we'll eventually get our souls together in future incarnations. uh, because obviously we need to be living together somewhere, and now we're just spread freaking everywhere. We have no physical locus. We're trying to just develop a mental locus now. And that's why I was referring to, a book. We need a basic book, right? That sets out a guideline, a lifestyle guideline, right, for pursuit of the form of the good in the context of ontological mathematics. Good. Archetype 0, reading the books. Excellent. Yep. Yeah, Stark's books are good too, for sure. There's some kind of control system. Well, you pass a certain level of mathematical knowledge, complexification of your soul. I don't think that there would be there's not an inbuilt within the context of the numbers themselves, but there are control systems on this earth that want to stop you from doing that. Like if you want to call it the Archon system, or Beverly and I call it this Zeta infestation, this parasitical infestation. Practically, yeah, there's all sorts of systems. The elite, the rich controllers, yeah, absolutely, they have all sorts of systems to stop you from freaking attaining mathematical knowledge, attaining sufficient levels of reason. They want you as stupid as freaking possible, right? Absolutely. But that's just an empirical matter here that you can overcome. But as far as on the soul or the monad side of things, no, there's no system. That's the point. The point of existence is to get to that level. It's straining for that level of development. It's straining for that level of complexification, for that level of development of your soul. Put the damn glasses on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you saw that movie, Mickey. Excellent. Put the glasses on. I'm gonna watch that movie tonight, actually, after this then. Yeah, that's great. It's such a great movie, man. See, we could all watch it together. Wouldn't that be fun? Put the damn glasses on. Vicky, you're so cool for knowing that reference. All out of bubble gum. Okay, Cooper, you got it too. Excellent. Perfect. Yes, I won't speak about. I'm more of a novice halfway through the God game. First novel, not the entire series. Okay, sure. All right. Good. Well, keep going. DCP, great movie. Yeah. So the God Game by Mike Cockney and the Witch Compass by Chambers, a book on traditional witchcraft. Oh, cool. Yeah, traditional witchcraft must be pretty neat. Must be pretty cool. Yeah, all that stuff about herbs and it's all that stuff. People think that the modern healthcare pharmaceutical industry is doing such fancy. No, they're just taking freaking what was known from herbs and they're like, for example, take what's that hydroxychloroquine. So hydroxychloroquine is simply a chemically stabilized form of chloroquine, which itself is an extracted form of quinine. And quinine comes from just there's some bark that is really high in it, but you can also just make quinine from from what's it called? Grapefruit pith, grapefruit skin. You just peel a grapefruit, you simmer it, you use the peels and you simmer it in water, and out comes the quinine, and there you have quinine. Anyway, why is and now it's called hydroxyquinine. Anyway, why is it? Because it was it was useful for combating COVID, of course, which they didn't want you to know and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, quinine. So anyway, herbs. Back to herbs. Yeah, everything is in it. Not that witchcraft is just about herbs. Obviously, it's about communing with nature and all sorts of stuff. All sorts of really, really fascinating, neat stuff that really, and of course in Christianity, it's just considered so evil to do anything like that, right? Communing with nature, like my communing with a butterfly last summer would just be considered so evil. So evil. That's such an evil pagan thing to talk to a butterfly. How evil. That's satanic. It's like, no, that is fucking life. That is the basis of life on earth. And that is communing directly with the spirit that fucking keeps us alive here. It keeps us alive here. And you want to disconnect from that and ignore it and pretend that it's evil, you're going to be fucking disconnected from it then. And you being disconnected from it means the end of your species, right? And that's what's being done to us, right? So yeah, back to all that sort of stuff. Okay, well, looks like I've caught up to the last of the questions. I find connection difficult now because of my mistrust for people and rejection of societal norms. I don't desire to be part of any mass mob mentality, even if it appears a pure communal structure. Well, yeah, hell, April C. I mean, join the party. I think probably you'll find that with all. I think any of us are going to be fairly similar. We're going to be high IQ. We're going to be fairly disagreeable. I mean, that in terms of not just disagreeable people, jerks. I mean, we're all quite polite. I'm sure, as far as our personality goes, our persona. It's just a word that means we don't like large groups, so we're introverted. Yeah, the last place we want to be is in a mob. The last place we want to be is with people who are just following, and sometimes you see that a lot, people who just want to be followers, and it's like, we're so naturally repulsed by it. I think, April, you would actually find that there's a great community of like-minded people here, and it's not going to disgust you. It's not going to turn you off in a way. I mean, obviously what happened before in the last few years, yeah, that's a whole operation that went down, and all that bullshit. But for the genuine souls who are just trying to be real humans and do human things on Earth in the context of Gaia, not fucking destroying it, right? With people like us, yeah, you would find. I think you'd find it to be good. I think you'd find connection. And yeah, none of us, absolutely, April, none of us want to be part of a mob mentality. None of us want to do that. And I think we would automatically, very quickly detect and feel that happening with each other, and and rectify it or get away from it or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm not freaking connected to anybody. Like, I freaking have almost no connections in my life. Like, I'm connected to like my daughter, and like I'm pretty good friends with Beverly, and like that's it probably. That's it. I really don't have any other connections. I mean, I can talk pretty well with other people and stuff. Anyway, God, let's not talk about how introverted we are. I mean, anyway. There's power in a group. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. There's power in a group. There's power in the state, right? So we do want to have group power, and eventually we do want to have state power, but it's going to be run rationally, and not to exploit and enslave. It's not going to be run by, profit-seeking corporations, like as if they're Ferengi, right, from Star Trek, just this Ferengi species that just wants profit, profit, profit. It's not going to be a system run like that. It's going to be a healthy, positive liberty state, like in the Hockley books give an example of such a state. There are people who say they are like us but aren't. I can totally understand what April is stating. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we should have a sort of an outline book that sort of gives a basic outline for life and who we should be. And yeah, like I said, like, it has to be appealable in the end to families and children. I mean, that's what makes the future is children. You know what I mean? Anyway, if I hear the word yoga, chakra, or third eye, I want to run in the other direction. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Beverly can talk a lot about that. Actually, I mean, so much of that stuff is it's just pointless bullshit that freaking goes nowhere, right? It's just pointless, mystical. You know, I discussed in one of my recent videos, right, about how there's just a group of people that just want the mystical, and that's the answer for them. They just want the mystical, which means no answer. It just reduces to unconsciousness because they don't actually know what the hell they're talking about. They're just using words that give some sort of weird sensation of an emotion, and then that's sufficient, right? Yeah, no, God, all that stuff is so pointless and so stupid, and just it goes nowhere and doesn't do anything for you, right? Right? Of course, that's what they want. They do not want you connecting back to pagan roots and actually learning the powers of nature that are out there that you can talk to and commune with, and cooperate with. That's the last damn thing they want. No, they absolutely want you to freaking go to, you know, chakras in your third eye and do what with them. It's not clear, but you know what I mean? Yeah, they absolutely want you to waste time doing that with New Age stupid stuff. I read the whole Illuminati series. Says Face by Adam Weishaupt. Yeah, so those other series are excellent too. Adam Weishaupt and who's the other one? Michael Faust. Yeah, those are the original three. So Mike Hockney, Adam Weishaupt, and Michael Faust. Those were the original three writers and book series, and those are quite. Though, yeah, those are wonderful. Yeah. So Meritus Hero God series by Faust, currently on book 5 in the God series by Mike Hockney. My brain feels like it's going to explode. Okay, well, in a good way, a bad way? How do you mean explode? My brain felt like it was being cleaned. My brain felt like, honestly, I had this picture. Um, in my book, just by contrast, in my book, I explained how after I would go through this peer review process with these retards in science, trying to fucking get them to recognize the most basic freaking facts of empirical reality and mathematical reality, and they would just refuse to do it. I would get these ridiculous, retarded responses from them in peer review. I would go take a shower because I felt so filthy talking. I would physically go take a shower because I felt so filthy. Now, by contrast, when I used to read, like back in the day, when it was the God series books coming out, I literally would always have this picture of my brain being in a wash basin and being washed, cleaned, right? And that was the feeling for me, that my brain was being washed and cleaned, and dross and blackness and dirt was being taken out of it, and then I was putting it back in my skull. Like that was the mental picture that just manifested when I would read those books, right? So for me, it didn't feel like exploding. For me, it literally generated this mental image of taking my brain out of my skull, putting it in a basin, washing it off, and putting it back in nice and clean. The one thing the failed experience of late showed is that there is a need for an easily acceptable entry level version. Oh yeah, and there's a need for a coherent community. Oh God, I mean, oh man, like it's just like I'm just like overwhelmed by the immediacy of the need. Yeah, like shit, I should have freaking been working on all the series that I've done on introducing how ontological mathematics works, what it is. Yeah, that needs to go into a book because that's a pretty good distillation of basically getting it down, and it's easy to understand. Yeah, I think I did a really good job on that. And then continuing on, as we've been discussing throughout this stream, I'm continuing on with, we're defining that our lifestyle is going to be based on, like the ancient Greeks, the pursuit of the form of the good, the pursuit of beauty. And so here's what we're going to do to do that, right? Oh man, yeah, God, you're so right. This part of the largest cohesion of like-minded people I've had the honor to participate in. So thank you. Yeah, cheers, Cooper. Face in a good way. Joe, butterflies have consciousness. See my email. Philip Mulholland. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I can tell you this story of how I communed with a butterfly. I mean, maybe if there's time. I did talk with a butterfly. I know it sounds ridiculous, but pagans have been doing things like that for thousands of years. And I was lucky enough to just have that experience. last year. So great. And it wasn't anything profound. It was just a matter of fact. And just demonstrating to me that, it works, and just sort of making sense of a few things for me. And then as a follow-up, I talked with a bunny, a rabbit, and just as a follow-up to sort of confirm a few things. Anyway, yeah, really neat. For me, reading Illuminist material feels like making progress on a Rubik's Cube. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a good mental image. Yeah, reading the Illuminist material, reading the Hogni books feels like making progress on a Rubik's Cube. That's a real good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah, so Liska agrees with April. Run far away from all that new age stuff. Yeah, for sure. It's just pointless stuff. So field of theaters. If you are positive, can any existing symbol be relied upon? Yeah, so you talk about sigils? Yeah, so there's sigils that are used for magic all over the place, right? Yeah, so sigils are everywhere, and the enemy uses them extensively, and we're surrounded by sigils, which have you know, meanings, subconscious meanings. Yeah, so there's all sorts of stuff about that. Anyway, maybe you can explain further, or ask further, or flesh it out a bit more if you like. Field of theaters. Um, just out of sheer cluelessness, what is wrong with yoga? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess I'm running a bit. Yeah, so I think yoga is actually decent. Well, yeah, I guess maybe I've. Yeah, I would say I would agree with Viggy. It's just, um, I guess I was more onto the new age sort of stuff, the pointless stuff. But yeah, yeah, that is a good point that there is some good results with yoga, with stretching your body, and it's just good healthy exercise. Yeah, for sure. I think that is a good point. Yeah, yeah. Very nice meeting you, everyone. Yeah, yeah. Cooper's saying yoga, exercise, and then yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a concept of yoga. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Concept of yoga is a spiritual identity, right? Cool. Thanks for help with that, you guys. All right. Well, I'll just wait a few minutes, see if anything else comes up. Looks like my couch is a mess back there. Yeah, thank you, JS, for coming. See this mug? It's a nice mug, hey? Handcrafted. What is ontological math? I only found about it today. Well, where did you come from then? Ontological math is that's a good question, right? Yeah, I should be able to answer that question. Ontological mathematics is just the theory of everything. Basically, it's the philosophy of why existence exists. It's the philosophy that explains existence. That's what it is. It's ontological mathematics is the explanation for existence. It's the philosophical explanation for why existence exists, why the universe exists, what we are, and why we're here, and what we're supposed to be doing here. So it's a hey, Boomy, how's it going? Yeah, so it's basically the theory of everything. It's the answer to existence. It's basically the answer to what all philosophers and religions have been attempting to do for all time in humanity, and it is now the final culmination of our highest knowledge, which does finally get to the answer of existence. Why does existence exist? The ontological question. Why does anything exist at all? Why does something exist rather than nothing? And then more than that, what does that say about why you exist and what you're supposed to be doing here? Things like that. Yeah, it's how mathematics explains actual existence. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so JS says ontological math is how mathematics can explain actual existence, right? It's how it is the form of mathematics which explains mathematics, which explains existence, and it explains why it is that particular form of mathematics, which is what existence is made out of, right? I just did search for videos about it, and your live was the first result. Wow, that's coincidental that you just searched for it just now during the live stream. That's cool. Yeah, it's everything. It's everything. Yep. Ontological mathematics is literally everything, even the kitchen sink. It's all of existence. It explains everything. Everything. Everything is explained now. There's no more mystery. There's no more mystery. There's no more question saying God just is what is and we can't explain it. There is no infinite regress of, it just has always existed forever, but there's no answer for why. Yeah, it's the answer for everything, the answer for existence. The study of what existence is. That's right, archetype zero. Ontological mathematics is a study of what existence is, like what it is made out of, what it is in and of itself. When did you would say you woke from common ignorances? Short answer is okay. Yeah, so you're asking me field of theater. When would you say I started getting woke? It actually started with diet, I would say. I was dating a girl in university doing my master's degree, and she was really into that. And yeah, she seems to have been woke before me for some reason, but whatever. Anyway, she was on diet, and so she gave me a book to read, the book Fit for Life. And I was just so surprised at the information in it because I had not thought about diet at all. That was never something that was in my consciousness. Food was just food, right, to me. But then reading that book really made it clear that food is not just food. There's different qualities of food, and it makes a difference what you eat. And I know it just really started waking me up somehow. It just made it clear that there was a difference between societal norms and what is actually the ideal or better or rational logical truth. It just sort of put that wedge in. And then my next experience was with the climate stuff, and I'd been sort of pre-primed with the diet stuff, and seeing that there was a disconnect between what the healthcare system says about food versus what the truth is about food. The healthcare system says food doesn't matter and it's irrelevant, but there's this whole other theory, because they subscribe to germ theory, right? And there's this whole other terrain theory where it's like, no, 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 it's food, it's all friggin' food. There's this other philosophy, approach to health called natural hygiene, which then got suppressed by the pharmaceutical approach. But this natural hygiene method was all about cleaning your body, eating healthy food which is proper to your organism, food which is proper and the most well suited to your organism. And then it was clear that holy shit, they're telling us to eat all this bread. We shouldn't be eating freaking bread at all. Bread is like toxic to us basically as an organism. I mean, we ferment bread to make it edible, but even still it's not that great a thing. um yeah, so anyway, just that wedge was in my mind there, got primed from the diet thing, that there's a disconnect between what is the ideal truth and what society and the healthcare system actually tells you. And then it was on to climate stuff, and then that really took my life in a big way, leading basically bringing me to here, and in the culmination of my Planet Wars book. And it melded in a wonderful, just a beautiful there's really only one other person who truly understands that story for me, with me, and that's Beverly, who's on here, my friend Beverly. Anyway, big journey there. Um, the climate stuff melding really beautifully with ontological mathematics, just in a really unique and just a really wonderful way, really really great way. Anyway, yeah, and then obviously, yeah, luckily enough, coming across the Hockney books, first thing I came across was just a link. I was just on some blog or some website somewhere reading about, the Rothschilds and the financial empire that they have and all that. And then there was a link, and back then it was all the Illuminati are so evil, and Alex Jones was always talking about how evil the Illuminati are and blah blah blah. And then just, so I was like steeped in the lore of Illuminati being this force out there that's, so evil and enslaving us, and it's the Rothschilds and it's a banking system and it's all this anyway. So then there was a link on some blog to the Armageddon conspiracy website, the real one, the original one. And so, of course, I linked that. And then, of course, I start reading, I'm a scientist, I'm an astrophysicist, and I start reading about how to interpret quantum mechanics. And I'm like, hooked, right? Like, hooked, because, I was steeped in this whole lore of the Illuminati, David Icke talking about it, all these people. And then it's just like reading what the supposed real Illuminati actually have to say about things. Yeah, that was just like the hook, right? Very, yeah, what a wonderful sequence. Gosh, I'm just so happy, thankful that I was able to go through that sequence. Does it use actual math? Yeah, it uses actual math. Yes, pause. Yes, for sure. It does use actual math. For example, the Euler's equation, e to the ix equals cosine x plus I sine x. That's basically identified as the base ontological unit of math, which generates all other math through the Fourier transform. I mean, you have to understand the Fourier transform and understand a few aspects as to why it would be that equation. I do discuss that in my videos on this channel. So yeah, and then basically the point is that from there you generate the wave equation. That's the wave equation. So the ontological equation, the base equation of existence, is the equation which is it is the equation. It is the only. It's crucial. It is the wave equation. Like that, it is the base. Like because for example, in quantum mechanics, there's no explanation for why there's a wave equation. It's just well, here's a wave equation, and we don't really know what it means, but or how to interpret it. But just calculate with it, and it seems to work sometimes if you do your calculations the right way. But don't ask us what it actually means. So ontological mathematics goes to the step below the basis and explains why quantum mechanics is what quantum mechanics is, and explains what the correct interpretation is, and it explains why it's a wave equation, because that is the basis. So yes, it shows that it makes the wave equation. Then of course it's connected to the way that we compute quantum mechanics with the Fourier transform and all that. So yeah, absolutely there's math in it. And if there are actual Illuminati people out there in some sort of society or group, yeah, they've progressed and they've been working on this. They've progressed this to what would only probably be called to us magical levels today. Like if they really are out there and they've done this, yeah, they would be some sort of break off civilization by now. That who knows what the hell they have, but it would be pretty it would look like magic to us if they've been working on it for 300 years. Sounds way too complicated. Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. It is mathematics. It does require high intelligence. Yeah. Did I talk about the God equation just yet? Said Boomy. I just did there a little bit. That's a God equation. That is a base equation of existence. Euler's equation. E to the ix. It is a wave equation. It is the wave equation. It explains why quantum mechanics is what quantum mechanics is. It explains why quantum mechanics is a wave equation. Right? Quantum mechanics in modern science and material science does not explain why it's a wave equation. So in ontological mathematics, we get right to the heart basis of reality and explain why it's a wave equation and how it works and why we have what we call quantum effects here and all that. Face. Some people use psychedelics and make the Kantian claim that the transcendent is off limits to reason and can only be reached through faith. But they replace faith with a psychedelic experience. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's just more mysticism, right? There's just, you don't. They never explain what the psychedelic experience is. It's just a mystical experience, right? So those are the mystical types. Yeah. So faith. Yeah, you're just referring. That's referring to the mystical types who, I've discussed in the previous video about, the different types and what they're seeking in life. So the people who are satisfied by mystery, by mystical, yeah, absolutely. Psychedelics is the answer for them to them, right? Why does existence exist? when I get fucked up on drugs. That's it's just like the religious people. Why does it exist? Baby Jesus. Baby Jesus is why existence exists. Well, what about a million years for still that's fucking the Big Bang. It's the wave equation. It's fucking everything. Baby Jesus is the answer. So for the mystical types, it's like, why does the universe exist? What about a million years from now? What about the wave equation? It's all just fucking getting fucked up on drugs and having a mystical experience. That's it. That's all of it, right? It just reduces to that, right? I've been on the Lions diet. It's helped me immensely. Great, Vicky. Yeah, tell us more about that. Yeah, cool. Excellent. Yeah, tell us about that. We would love to do that. And we would love, we'll see if we had a community, we could talk about that. I think I heard somebody just mention that today. Maybe Beverly did to me, the Lions diet. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it sounds like it's carnivore or something, I'm assuming. And yeah, like I said, especially the Northern Europeans, we would have been absolutely freaking survived almost exclusively like on those woolly mammoths. What did I call them earlier? Mastodons. I don't know what the hell's a mastodon. A woolly mammoth. Anyway, it was the same thing maybe. Yeah, it would have been meat and fat. Yeah, carnivore diet for sure. Lion's diet, immensely good. Psychedelics are finding a mathematical structures projecting space-time. Yeah, sure. I mean, that gives you a strange experience. Yeah, but ultimately, it doesn't explain anything, right? Sweet potatoes are the key. Yeah, sweet potatoes. Yeah, roots probably maybe would have been good if you're saying that's what they ate. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah, probably. I think that's part of the. I think that's called the paleo diet, right? When you have stuff like that, isn't that paleo? When they, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, um, Euler's formula is the ultimate mathemagic, right? Beef, salt, water. Lion diet is meat, water, and salt. Oh, right, Beverly. Yeah, yeah, meat, water, and salt. Yeah, lots of people heal on it. Yeah, that's cool. Good. Boomy, I prefer ungulates. Yeah, I don't think they meant you eat lions. The lion diet doesn't mean eating lions. Ungulates, yeah. You'll prefer ungulates. What is that again exactly? That's something about the hoof, right? That's not pigs. It's like deer and stuff. And those type of hooves or something. Isn't that what it means? Anyway, um, yeah, certainly those wild animals and those. I mean, wild meat. I mean, we can't do it anymore because there's two humans. But certainly, the best meat would have been wild meat. Yeah, absolutely would have been the best. And maybe in our future world, I would envision a world structured so that we have a population level which is maintained at a rational level, so that there can be vast majority, like imagine a futuristic world with beautiful futuristic cities made of, like, I don't know, silver or glass or marble or crystal or something like that. But then we're surrounded by vast tracts of wilderness that, yeah, do provide sufficient levels of wild meat that we can live on. You know, uh, we could build a world like that. And have the highest quality. Ultimately, that's where we would want to go, pursuing the form of the good and the form of beauty, the form of excellence. Obviously, we would want the best, highest quality, best foods possible, right? Absolutely. How fun would that be? Yeah, deer, moose, and elk. Yeah, absolutely. Ruminant animals. Yeah, deer, moose, elk. Yeah, I know elk is. Yeah, those are all wonderful. God, those are good. Have you ever had? I mean, it's so rare nowadays. It used to be all people ate. But have you ever had the opportunities to have actual wild deer, moose, and elk? It's very good stuff. Any animal with four stomachs. Ruminants are good for us, Beverly says. Yeah, so the multiple stomach. An animal with more than one stomach. Right. Good. You guys are so smart. Animals that live their real lives would be so much healthier. Yeah, I know for sure. Right. Than the tortured, abused factory animals. I know it's not ideal, especially because they got to be filled with so many freaking drugs, injections and crap like that. And then, yeah, they're weak. Like they're not. They don't represent strong. Like a cow is such a dumb, weak animal. You know what I mean? It is not representing the height of excellence and power and beauty like a wild stag is, right? Like think of a wild buck elk. Like that just represents, power and energy and survival and just like, yum. I want to eat that, right? But then you look at a stupid cow. It's like that what I was talking about earlier about the numbers. The numbers inside an elk are better than the numbers inside a cow. A cow is more entropy. An elk is much more negentropic, right? So it's much healthier for sure. Yeah. Anyway, if you ever get a chance to eat, or if you know any friends that hunt or anything like that, ever get a chance to eat wild meat, give it a try. Yummy. Moose is the best. Yeah. Listen to Beverly says Vicky. Yeah, that's true, Philip. Yeah, carnivores do devour the guts and offal by preference. Yeah, that's true actually. And humans don't do that, and we never really did that. Like not the guts, the gross parts, but like the organs. So for humans, it's a big thing that people will tell you about that are knowledgeable about carnivores. That the organ meats are actually the real choice meats, and the high fat meats, and it's the lean meat. Of course, the enemy that's here is telling us to eat all these lean meats and eat no fat. Fat is so freaking important for your brain and for your intelligence, maintaining your IQ, all that sort of stuff, for your health. Fat and your hormones, your hormone balance, so important to eat lots of animal fat. And of course, they freaking are trying to, use these synthetic replacement fats, um, factory fats, seed oil fats that are just so freaking toxic and disgusting for us. But anyway, yeah, the organ meats, like the liver, heart, kidneys, all that sort of stuff, that's super good. And I know that humans, have eaten those a lot over time, and those used to be the preferred meats. And then secondarily to the organ meats, it's the high fat meats that are good. And then the lean meats, like the loin, you know, those were like considered, the really lean parts of the animal were considered the least highest quality meats that you would want to eat. And now it's reversed because, of course, they're society, whatever the system is, reversed it on purpose so that we're not eating what we need to eat anymore. Anyway, yeah, but if you're a wolf, yeah, if you're a wolf or a lion, yeah, you go in and you eat the actual intestines. Like we wouldn't eat the intestines. Like they eat the actual guts. Like we wouldn't do that. So Laris and Gonzalez, I can run a program that tracks your words and can create clips pretty easily, making a job of making that condensed book a lot easier. Want to use your videos for it? Well, I mean, yeah, thanks for the offer. I mean, I made those previous clips are all slideshows, right? They're all PowerPoint slideshows. So I mean, I have the source material. Um, yeah, I can easily just run that in my head as I rewrite it. And but yeah, thanks Larson for putting the fire under my bum there, so to speak. Yeah, you're right. That does need to be done. Hoof to hoofed animal, right? My first hunt is up this upcoming season. Oh, cool! You're going hunting. Cool, good. Imagine, imagine the vegans. Imagine the Iberian vegans, right? We're talking about hunting and eating animals. Cool, good stuff. My partner loves organ meats, offcuts. Yeah, good, exactly. Bulls are used to symbolize virility. Yes, exactly. Yeah, bulls. Yeah, like look at this, for example, on my mug, right? Like, look at that. Like, why is that on a mug? Because of what it represents. Because it represents virility, power, survival, and as far as an herbivore goes, intelligence. Because it took some intelligence for that elk to survive a few years to get that big, and health, right? It wasn't picked off, right? Because what do the wolves and predators do? They pick off the parasite infested animals, right? So this animal, you know, represents one that has no parasites, has not been picked off by wolves, has been living correctly. Anyway, you know what I mean, right? Yeah, exactly. Bulls, the stags represent virility and strength. Absolutely. Too much going on with eggs and chickens currently. Oh God, yeah, that's just yeah. I know, yeah. So if people don't know what's going on, apparently so many laying hens have stopped making eggs, stopped laying eggs because they've done something to the freaking food supply, to the feed supply that's poisoning these hens and making them freaking stop laying. Like, and then we're eating that. And then so there's been some tests by I think Mike Adams, Natural News, and just showing that it's just like ridiculous levels of glyphosate Roundup weed killer in their food, and it's just freaking yeah, making them stop laying eggs. Like talk about the base of life. What is the base of life? Freaking eggs, right? Eggs. So it's like whatever it's doing inside the freaking chickens, it's freaking making them stop laying eggs. Like that's not good. And then we eat that. So what's that going to do to human freaking reproductive female systems, if that's what it. God, it's just so toxic, right? So yeah, they've done something to the feed to do this. Yeah, pretty bad. Butter on my steak. Yes, very nice. Yeah, butter is good. Yeah, animal butter is excellent. Yeah, eat your butter for sure. Do not eat that freaking fake shit. If you're eating margarine, get off my live stream. No, I'm just kidding. But don't throw it out. Get real butter. Eat real butter. Do not eat that fake shit, right? It's shit. It's designed to make you sick on purpose. No shit. They literally know it makes you sick and they want to make you sick because then they make money other ways off you later on in life, right? By you being sick and having to go to the pharmaceutical industry for drugs that make you better, right? So stop eating margarine and eat butter, please. Immense respect for dairy cows, though. Yeah, milk is good. Yeah, especially raw milk if you can get it. I mean, that's another thing. They seem to really only want you to have pasteurized milk. There's something about pasteurized milk. They really want you to have that for some reason. They seem to really be afraid. Like it's a fear. Like they literally fucking seem scared of you having raw milk. Like it scares the shit out of them. Like the level of freaking laws and regulations that they have and what they're willing to, like how they come down on farmers and people who, have raw milk. They're freaking really afraid of it for some reason. And that tells you that there must be something good about it. Because if they're that freaking afraid of it, there's a reason why. And the reason why is because it's good for you. Because they fucking hate anything that's good for you. The elite that are here, people that are abusing us, they hate anything that's good for you. They hate it. So that's the only reason why they would do that with raw milk. So anyway, yeah, raw milk is really good if you can get it. Tried air frying your steaks and maize balls. JS says he cooks their steak and butter too. Very nice. Yeah, bugs don't go after margarine. Yeah, exactly. It is plastic. Yeah, exactly. It's plastic. No, literally, that's what it is. It's plastic, and you're freaking eating it, and then you wonder why. Like, God, it's so bad, and Americans have it the worst off. Like, they really hate Americans, and they're trying to destroy Americans most of all. There's this thing where Europeans or people who've moved back and forth, like if an American moves to Europe and lives in Europe for a while, they lose like 20 pounds in like the first few months of just living in Europe, and they don't really do anything in particular to change their diet. They just eat whatever's normal there, and they just lose freaking like 20, 30 pounds just by freaking going to Europe. Like they are freaking so poisoning the food supply for Americans. It's so freaking bad. Like you really got to be careful if you're living in America what you're freaking eating. You really got to go to the health food stores and get your freaking organic stuff because and yeah, a lot of it is plastic. People are just they watch the advertising. I can't believe it's not butter. I told that to my daughter once, and she's like, "Why the hell would people buy something that says I can't believe it's not butter? Then it's not butter. Just buy butter." And I'm like, "Yeah, but they put it on the TV, and then people buy it, and then people buy it, and then they tell their friends about it. Oh, I bought that. I can't believe it's not butter. It tastes just like butter. Why the fuck wouldn't you have real butter? I can't believe it's not butter. It's plastic." You know what I mean? It's like, what? That's a world we live in. Okay, if you have backyard chickens, yes, you should be feeding them home mixed organic seed. Absolutely. Yep. If you have backyard chickens, absolutely make sure you're feeding them good stuff. Do not buy that non-organic stuff because, like with this example, yeah, they're poisoning it. Yeah. There's an effort to monopolize the food supply. Absolutely, Boom. Yeah, they want to monopolize it. And it's not like you're getting any better quality. You're getting the worse quality, the larger the monopoly is. You're getting worse and worse quality food. Goy slop it's called, right? Isn't that what the term people are using for it now? Goy slop. Yeah. So as the monopolization grows and grows, the food quality goes down and down. And yeah, they basically want you eating garbage. They want you eating shit, right? Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, we've gone over an hour. What do you say? Want to call it there? Unless there's some good pointed things, unless somebody has something that they really want to talk about, ontological mathematics, Illuminism. I think we really, made the good point that we really need some sort of a locus, a book, and I think I could do that um, with my ontological mathematics series that I've done on this channel. Put that into a book form, and then, like I said, and then we say, so this is what we're doing, and this is what ontological mathematics basically directs us to do. We want to become, and we want it to become perfect, and become expand consciousness in the process too, right? But we're going to do it by pursuing the form of the good, and pursuing beauty, right, in all things, and then lay out, this is the basic approach to how to do that as a human on Earth. That's not self-destructive and destructive to the planet, which keeps us alive here, which sustains our physical body here, right? The quality of the food in Norway was astonishing. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Maybe it was. Vicky says, could you do a live once a week or a month or so? Yeah, once a week might be too much for me. I don't know, or maybe not. I have no idea. It's my first one. So why don't we start at maybe a month or so, just that there's enough time. Because yeah, maybe if you feel like it's nice for us to get together, yeah, sure, Vicky. Sure, why not? Okay, anything else from anybody? Okay, cool, Vicky. Yeah, sounds good. So if anyone has anything else, yeah, good night, Boomy. Cheers. Thanks for coming, man. JS, have a good one. Yeah, why doesn't everybody sign off and say goodbye? I'll give you a sec to do that. I'll give you a minute, and then I'll shut it down. Thank you. Okay, take care, everybody. Cheers, Philip. Thanks, everyone, for coming.